Hi everyone, I'm
There
Dekan.
he
I'm the
is.
booth manager for games over here at Cryptozoic Entertainment. I have my friend Bob here hanging with me too.
Oh
He's
my
going to be
gosh,
back there with me this whole time, and we'll just
twins.
woo. Next it up, that's going to be Cryptkins, which I know Amanda will be talking a lot more about. But he's going to be back here with a lot of the other games that we're going to be talking about over the next few days. But the most important one that we're going to be talking about right now is Spycon. Now, everyone out there is probably already a fan of our Spyfall line that we do with Hobby World. We have released 4 separate games in that line here. Spyfall, obviously. Spyfall 2, obviously. Spyfall Time Travel. And Spyfall DC. If you're a big fan of those and you know how to play those, sorry, you have no idea how to play this game, but I'm going to teach you right now.
Excellent.
So Spycon, I know that Amanda knows a little bit about it, and we're going to do a couple of mock rounds here today. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me about it. I'm going to give you a quick preview, and we're going to play a couple rounds. But the concept here in Spycon, as you can kind of see from the area, is it's a spy convention. And you are joining this spy convention, and you are trying to find your contact while trying to avoid having your contact found by the other spy and their team. So that's the basics here of the storyline going for Spycon. It plays as a 4 to 10 player game, and it plays in about 30 minutes as your team tries to understand what your group is trying to do first versus keeping that information from the other team. Now, one person on your team, when your team is active, will be the spy. Unlike in Spyfall, however, you know who the spy is because they're the ones talking, and they're the only ones really talking. They are given a secret card at the beginning of the game that is their cosplay outfit. You are trying to suss out where your contact is and what cosplay they're in for the round. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and you can kind of see some of the really fun art that we did with this game with Hobby World. And there are a couple different areas that this goes to. But here, first and foremost, you could be Abraham Lincoln. And the basic idea here is if you're Abraham Lincoln, you're trying to make sure that your team says the word Abraham Lincoln, well, the other team does not say Abraham Lincoln. And you do so by talking yourself through this and making statements about I am, while not making sure. Now, that seems like it would be very hard to do, per se, without something secret or special. And that's where the key items come in. So there are these key items. And let me go ahead and pull those up for us real quick. And that's because they're all the way down here. So something like you might also have a newspaper or a guitar that you're dealt as the spy as well. If you are dealt that newspaper or guitar as your key item, you are not sharing that information with the other team, but you're sharing it with your own team. So your team knows newspaper, or your team knows guitar, or something along those lines. So let's say that I have guitar as my secret thing, and I am a character on this sheet, and it's probably one of the characters on these sheets. So let me go ahead and go down there real quick. Just going around this entire document to make sure that you guys understand what's going on. This is a list of all the characters that I could possibly be, and that you on my team know, and the other team who doesn't have the keyword guitar in front of them don't know. So I would say something along the lines of, you know, I use this, but it's not my preferred. And then you can kind of keep going down that track. And you can talk as much as if you were the spy, but you don't have to say too much, or you can say as little or as much as you want, trying to make sure that you give the right clues. Now, I said that as a guitar, trying to make people guess Ludwig von Beethoven as my spy card that I would have drawn secretly. Yes, he probably could use a guitar. He's a musical genius, but it's not his preferred. But that also might bring up other things, and if I have to keep talking longer and longer, as I'm apt to do, as you have noticed from my live stream here, it might cause problems for me. The balance of this game, however, comes in with the other team always getting to ask a question first. So even if, Amanda, you're on my team and you say, I know it's Ludwig von Beethoven, but you don't say that out loud yet. You say, just stop. The other team gets to guess first, always. After a round is over, then the points are scored, teams switch sides, and the other team gets a chance to draw their spy and spy card, and you keep playing until everyone kind of has a chance to be a spy. And there is a track of red carpet cards that you can see right here that you track your points on. If you're able to finish and guess correctly on the first guess, you get 3 points. If you second, third, and that so on and so forth. So those are the basics of how this game plays. Now, before I go any further, I thought I'd just see if any questions had come up. I haven't been really watching those, Amanda. I'm not sure if anyone have while we've been going on.
Well, Kate just pointed out something really fun that I really like about this game. She said, it's very cool. Is the dog supposed to be a shout out to the Beethoven movies, referencing the Ludwig von Beethoven card? So Spyfall is such a like tongue-in-cheek game. It's so funny. Like Lincoln holding a Lincoln. Like there's like, I think my favorite card is the Baba Yaga card in the mythology sets, because there's 2 different sets of characters you can use. You can use either a historical figure set or like mythical, or the historical figures, or like figures from stories, basically like fictional characters. That's the word for it. Haha. You can either use fictional characters or characters from history. And so the Baba Yaga is, I think, my favorite one. It's sort of like John Wick, but also like old Russian folktale witch woman.
Exactly. Let me go ahead and find that one for you so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Baba Yaga will be down there. Let me go ahead and just get back in here.
But yeah, the art for this game is just way too much fun.
Of course, it's not working, so I'll go ahead and reload that file, and we'll get that back up in a second. But yeah, every one of them kind of has a double entendre going on, as you had said. So yeah, as I was trying to point out with Lincoln, as we were looking there too, Lincoln has a Lincoln, as you pointed out, but he also has a $5 bill on his lapel there too, as a golden chain. So there's a lot going on with this. Let me zoom in a bit more. Houdini is obviously upside down. Let me go ahead and find our Beethoven, which was pointed out earlier by a person. Yes, there's 2 Beethovens on here, obviously, with a dog treat. Let's go ahead and get down to our mystical area. Where's Baba Yaga?
Oh, the reverse mermaid is hilarious too.
Oh yeah. So here
I saw that one go by. The little mermaid. Right
and the Minotaur also is pretty good.
Pixelated for your convenience.
Oh yeah, got to make sure that's safe. So, but basically, that brings up another thing too. I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick so I can kind of show something in front of me too, and then I'll go back in a second.
Sure.
All right. So you have in front of you basically a character sheet, which has all of the characters that you could be playing with. This is the marker of the set that you're playing with. So these are the fictional characters right here. But flip it, and both teams have one of these. This is the non-fictional characters. So you have these in front of you, and as you are doing stuff, you're able to take notes and mark things off. So we know that we've now done Ludwig von Beethoven. Wow, I'm actually doing this backwards, all right. Ludwig von Beethoven right there, and we got rid of it. It's out of the game now because we already guessed that. So we have that there. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring this back up so I can show Baba Yaga, which you were talking about as well. Here's Baba Yaga.
There we go.
So it still has the Russian mythology to it, but it also has a little bit John Wick in it. So there's a lot of fun that we're playing with in that as well. Invisible Man has to be actually one of my favorites right below there. Just a big old green suit.
Great.
Yeah, I can go through a lot more of these cards. There's nothing really we're keeping hidden on this one. It's just coming out later this year. It's printing now, and we love it. So there's a couple of extra like blank cards for you to fill in your own. And the biggest difference is this has already been released or is already being worked on, I believe, for an English version for the Europe audience. And we decided to change 3 cards for the USA audience that might actually help us play a little bit better. So cards that are in this version that aren't in any other version are King Arthur, Zorro, and Mother Teresa. Changing out ones that are less, that are more European centric and less USA centric as characters. Oh, there's Thor. Thor's pretty good too.
Yeah. That is great. Let's see, we have a question. How many artists are on the team that designs these games? So I know that this one is particularly a different sort of situation, since this one is sort of a partnership that we have with, oh, it just ran away from me. But yeah, why don't you speak to that?
So for this game, we didn't go for the art. We found the art. We got the art all prepackaged as a game that we have imported from Russia, from Hobby World. Hobby World, our partners in this title, created this artwork and worked with the artist Uldrim for this artwork. That said, when we do other games, like when we do DC deck building, we try to find artwork directly from the comics. With Epic Spowers, we work with a cryptic man named R.S. Bixby, who does all of our artwork for those titles. So it really depends on the title and that. So there's I wouldn't say there's a team of artists that we have, but there are people that we reach out to or people that other people reach out to make sure that we do that. And we do a subcontracting and find that right contractor to do the right art for our fit.
Excellent. And there was another question, clarification. So would the cards not be reusable if you can mark them off? Does the game come with multiple cards?
Yes. So basically, once you remove them from a play session, they won't come back into the deck. So it actually helps you find where you are easier as the game continues. But you are welcome to use the same deck of cards again after that. And that does bring up these questions of like, hey, what about replayability? There's only 2 decks and 2 sides of the sheet. The replayability comes from the card combinations. Just because you're the Minotaur doesn't mean you've ever been the Minotaur with a ladder before. And that changes how you have to talk about the Minotaur and the ladder, or the Minotaur and the shovel, or the Minotaur and the wheel, or the Minotaur and the screwdriver, or the Minotaur and the mask, or the Minotaur and the bucket, or the candle, or the swimsuit, Minotaur and the swimsuit. How do you talk about that?
Right, because it's all about how it's all about how your prop relates to your character and how you can get people to guess what character you are based on these weird cryptic clues.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there are 28 characters per side. So that means that this game comes with just under 60 characters. I think 54 characters as a total choice that you can have in the game. And you can always make the game more difficult on yourself by shuffling everything together. We don't suggest that for first-time players, but there's a lot of replayability because it's just how the key item cards that your team knows and how you're talking about your character in code are combined with your character card that you are drawn for your spot. And I'm just going to continue kind of clicking up through some of these.
Oh yeah, no, this is great. This is great.
We can keep seeing some great artwork as we continue on. Yeah, so those are the basics of Spycon. I'd hope to actually play a round of it with you guys, but it looks like we're getting close to the Krypton thing. So I thought I'd just answer a couple more questions. If there are any more questions about this or other games, I can think about that or answer them right now. And I'll be back in about 30 minutes to talk about the next one right up here.
Oh yeah, Steven Universe. Woohoo!
And that's going to be with Andrew Wolf, one of the co-designers of that title as well. So if you guys have questions for that, feel free to start thinking about them for that panel as well.
Great. So when is this game set to release?
So everything that I'm showing here today, we're trying to aim for 2020. Obviously, COVID-19 plays with that, but most of these have been submitted for printing at this point, and are in stages of approvals with factories in China. And the goal is to make sure that they're available this year for you guys. Mm-hmm. And you can pre-order them all through your local game store, through our e-store, whatever you need to do for your own needs.
Excellent.
There's Albert Einstein's EMC square tattoo. Very important.
It's very important.
Yeah. So I'll just leave Sigmund Freud up for us right now.
Fantastic.
Right? Yeah. Anything else before we go ahead and I just kind of slink out of here for a little bit, then just give the floor over to Amanda so she can start talking about any Krypkins?
Let's see.
I'm trying to look at some of these questions as well. I can't track it as easily. I'm very glad Amanda's here.
No, I'm good.
Big round of applause for Amanda.
Aw, thanks. Which 3 characters are in the EU version?
Okay, so we changed Friday from Robinson Crusoe to King Arthur. That one's a little bit harder for some people that are maybe not reading as much as others. Scheherazade from Arabian Nights, the teller of the tales, has been changed to Zorro, and Mata Hari, who was a 1920s German spy, Russian-German spy, and less known in the USA. That said, I know that many of you people do know these characters. We're trying to make sure that this game is a party fun game for everyone. And if you don't know the game or the character inside of that, I'm going to stop sharing. There's actually a whole section in the rule book giving you a little bit of an idea of who everyone is. so you can get an idea of who they are and their a quick look through. So at any time during the game, you can just say, hey, can I see the rule book and double check something? Because I might not know this person. There is a sub rule that you could also use your phone to Google your character, but at the beginning of the game, it does say, please do not. And you can also add in other variants such as time rounds and everything like that. Just like Spyfall, play the game how you have fun. That's the best way to play this game. It's a party game. There are definitely a suggested rules in the standard rule set, but honestly, just have fun. This is a game meant to have fun with a lot of people, drinking your beverage of choice, really.
That sounds like a great time to me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of fade away for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll be back in 30 minutes. Enjoy talking about some Cryptkins.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Dekan, for jumping on and telling us about Spycon. I can't wait to play that game. Bye-bye.